In this tutorial, we will go over how you add dimensions to a 3D object. Because we're working within a three-dimensional space, simply using dimension, I'll show you, I'll demonstrate this, and clicking on an area, say here and here, doesn't really work. And then when it does pull out for you, it's on the ground. It doesn't understand that there are different heights and different planes to work within. So we need to use a command called UCS, which stands for User Coordinate System. And that allows us to define the X and Y axis within a different visual plane. So let's go type in UCS, okay? And we get this bright colored X, Y, Z axis. And what you want to do is keep your one of your axis upwards in a vertical line. So I'm going to click here. If I were to do something like this, see how it's pivoting? That would be incorrect. So only make a selection when it's still vertical. So I'm going to bring the X towards this corner, and I'll bring the Y towards this corner. Okay, you can only click twice. And this allows you to select the dimensions within this area. So if I go to my dimensions tool, yours is along the top, of course, mine's on the side. And select that point. Oh, I'm too far in. Let's redo that. Because of the curve, I have to go inwards a little bit here. That lets me. There we go, and then you pull. So that's our first dimension, and you can see that it's up at the top where it belongs. Now, if this view is bothering you and it's hard to see what I'm doing, let's go to wireframe and change it to X-ray so you can still see the lines, but you have some sort of fill to work with. And then we can change it later as well, just so that you can see the numbers more easily. Okay, this is where it gets a little tricky. Selecting the radius on the circle, it tends to want to snap in a funny position. So we'll do our best here. For me, for you, you just go to the top and select the radius. It looks like a curve. I don't actually have that in my dimension area here, so I'm going to type in dim red. There we go. And then I'm going to click on the circle, and let's see what we got. That's not bad, actually. And click. Before we move to the rest of the Lego block, let's just quickly go over how you do a dimension on a rounded fillet corner. So you make sure your X, Y, Z axis is on the top layer as it is, and then you grab your, sorry, on a PC, it's at the top. For me, I have to type dim radius. And click on the corner and pull. And there you have your radius. Okay, so one thing you'll notice with the UCS command is you can't do the Z axis. So if I were to click here and here, it would not give me a dimension. There are ways to change this face so that that becomes X and Y. On a PC, I believe you type in face. On the Mac, I haven't yet figured out how to achieve this. So for now, it's not part of the requirements for your assignment. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. But if you're curious, look it up, see what you can achieve. Okay, so I'm also going to dimension the bottom area here. And once again, because this is way up in this area, we need to drop it down. So you type in UCS and it pulls it over. And this time I'm going to select this point, bring the X over here, and bring the Y over to that point. Okay, you always find those boxes and then you know you're in the right spot because sometimes it's hard to see the other end. And then we get our dimension tool here. Click, click, and pull. So that works. Once again, the radius has to be selected. Let's see if this works in the present state. Sometimes you have to move the UCS closer to the circle. So we'll see if this works. I'm going to type dim red. Oops, sorry, got to get out of this command. Dim red. There we go. Let's see what we can achieve here. Yeah, it's near the bottom. That's not a very good spot for it. So let's play around with moving the UCS and see what we can achieve. So this time I want it up here and here, and making sure there's always one at the top. Something's going wrong here. Oh, let's try that. Looks vertical. Might work, might not. So let's go to, escape that, dim red. And click on here and pull it. Nope. It still wants to be on the bottom. So we'll have to do UCS again. Maybe this time we can pull from. There is a front and a back end on this. If I were to click here and come back here, and I'll demonstrate this later, your numbers are going to be upside down. So you actually have to go from left to right. So I'll click here. Let's try this. This is very similar to what I did already, but perhaps we'll have better luck. And that seemed to work a lot better. It snapped to the middle, but if I had left it down here, it probably would have been the right position. So that was the winner. Like I said, it would probably take a few attempts where you get the dimension placed in the right spot. And then we have this side over here. So once again, you type in UCS, and this time we'll orient it over. Now, if yours is snapping inside the circle, and you can't go from this area over to here, because then when you pull your dimension, your numbers are reversed. So you always go left to right. So what I would suggest is just escaping out of here and slightly rotating your view. Okay, pan this down. Now I'll type UCS, and now I've worked my way around this circle here, and it's snapping into position quite nicely. This is a great position for our linear dimension. So we go to here and pull, and our numbers are correct. And then for the circle, we just have to orient this a little bit differently. UCS. Let's see if that achieves our goal. Not bad. It's got a little triangle there, but play around with it, and you should be able to see all your dimensions correctly.